friends. Oh, I'm so excited. I've got some black DecoArt Satin Enamel and I am going to do a pour. Oh, how bizarre, I haven't got my orange. Never mind, I'm going to use this orange over here. The Mont Marte orange. Oh, you're going, why are you talking about the orange? You're meant to be talking about the black. But I'm doing, in this pour, part of my group challenge, so we're going to be using blue and orange because they're very uplifting colours, and I decided to set this challenge just to help us feel a bit more uplifted because it's very cold and wintry and a bit blah in Australia at the moment, so it's just to help lift our spirits a bit. And of course the challenge being blue and orange together is a bit difficult to pull off at times because you can get mud quite quickly. So I'm going to be using it in this cloudy effect. Well, I'm hoping it's going to be a cloudy effect. So how am I going to do it? I'm going to mix up this differently to anything that's been done before, because I am going to be also using the Mont Marte acrylic pouring medium as the predominant pouring medium in this to bring the paints up to consistency. But what I will be doing is following Mely D's core recipe, and that simply says 50% of satin enamels to 50% of your other colour, or not your other colour, your other product to make the basis of your paint. So the one part of paint is 50% satin enamel, and in this instance, that's the black, it will be matching that with global colour black. So here I go, I'm opening it up, giving it a bit of a tilt, and super excited. Nice sealant. It should be lovely and stinky because that's what enamels are. Yes, it is. And so in I pour about that much. I remember I'm an eyeballer, not a measurer, so I can tell you I've put about an inch worth in, but it doesn't matter how much I put in because it's really remembering that it is 50% of the satin enamel and then 50% of the other acrylic paint. So I'm just eyeballing where that came up to on my stick. So it was about that deep. Whoops. How are you going to be able to see that if there's only black there? So I need to double that. Eyeball that here, plump, 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 and I think a little bit more. Very good. And then I'll mix that together until that's forming a smoother paste, and then I'll bring that to consistency using a combination of, you know what, that just feels so not okay. That's better. Big lump in it. It was like a big skin in the top of my black. What a bugger, because now I have to be really careful mixing this through because it seems, hopefully there's no more in there because I want this to be a really nice experiment with no lumps. Alright, let's persevere. Yeah, that's looking good. So, you know, we can't use that to pour, it's way too thick. And I haven't used this pouring medium before, the Mont Marte pouring medium, so it's going to be interesting for us to see its consistency. Let me have a smell. It smells very similar to the global, or should I say Holcroft pouring medium. I'm going to bring that up so that you can just see how that's interacted with that paint. And off we go, mixing that in. You know how our global pouring medium has that notion of looking sort of milky clear but a bit blue. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. This looked exactly the same, so that's going to be a super bonus if it's going to perform in the same way or be very similar, because this 1 litre of the Mont Marte pouring medium was $25. So it's very competitive in its pricing. Okay, so I'm going to need to bring that up to consistency even more, and I don't want to be using too much more of that pouring medium. I will give it another dash, and then I'll bring it up with water and Floetrol from, you know, the suggestion from Gina DeLuca that I've been using for quite a long time now, and that is the notion of about 10% Floetrol to 90% water. So here it is. I always have it around. It's a great way to rinse out the bottom of your Floetrol bottles as well, and it just softens the water and it helps our paints not break down and maintains integrity with the pigments. Okay, and so remembering that with the cloudy pour, we have our paint consistency on the thinner side, so I don't want any mounding. Look, it's still very thick. I don't want any mounds at all on my, when I do this with my stick, and that's still very, very thick. I'm going to transfer to a bigger stick now, because that's just a massive fiddle fart. Here we go, that's going to be easier. See that much better. It's still too thin though. I mean too thick. I just want it a little bit thinner, not too much thinner. And then I'll get on to mixing up my other colours. I'll be using a metallic brilliant blue by Global. So I'm still using up the last of my globals, and I haven't decided if I'm going to invest into the Holcroft. I'm thinking that I might start just only using Liquitex. I've had mixed reviews from the Holcroft, just hearing people not being happy with it, and I probably should give it a whirl myself, because I often realise that, you know, people might not be happy with it because they use it differently to what I do, and it could be fine for what I do. There's one thing I've learnt, different ways for different people, and I think I use this analogy a lot, and that's the notion of 100,000 recipes for an apple pie. Every single one will give you an apple pie, but every single one might have a slightly different way to make it, and one might have cinnamon and one might not, but you still get an apple pie. And that's the same for pouring. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. I will come back and revisit it in a minute. Now I'm just going to get on to making my other paints, which I didn't finish telling you what I'm using, so I will now. I'm going to be using Metallic Brilliant Blue Global. I'm using up the last part of my Precious Bling, and that's my substitute for the enamel 24 karat that's going around. And the other thing I'm going to do for my orange is I'm going to incorporate this bit of Mont Marte that I've been experimenting with, just because I like mixing it up. So I'll get on to making this paint and getting it all to a similar consistency, and then let's see how we go with making a black cloudy effect pour. Okie dokie, here we go. So I'm actually going to start with just a little bit of the gold, and I'm going to pour it down the side. That's just being mindful that I think I want the gold to be in the middle. And now I'm doing my orange, and now the first part of the black. I'm doing great effort to, make sure that I've got a separation between the orange and the purple. Oh, I keep saying purple, don't I? And the blue. Black again. Gold. Orange. Black. Gold. This time I'm going to put the blue on top of the gold so I can have some of that blue and gold kissing. We've got quite a bit of paint, quite a huge bit of paint. Actually, I don't think I'll add any more into my jug. And put this aside here. And now I'm going to cover my canvas. Okay, and so it seems the way to go these days is a straight pour, so I may as well just do that. Huge amount of paint. Wondering where the orange is. Black might have just absorbed it all. Oh. I'm not going to worry about that middle part, even though every part of me is like, oh, what just happened then? So I can't see any orange, but as we well know, this kind of pour changes and alters very, very quickly. I just want to see which light will reduce your glare. Not that one. That one? Yeah. Oh God, you should see the PowerPoint. It's black. That's better for you. Alright, so what I've got to do now is just kind of give it a torch. Not just kind of, it's very bubbly. And already I'm looking forward to doing another one tomorrow and knowing that I must use much lighter colours. I'm even thinking of doing a monochrome one tomorrow using the black, perhaps a metallic charcoal and white, so that I can get a better idea of how this is going to perform, because this is very dark, but we've got some lovely things happening. And I know you can't see them yet, but they are. It's happening. It's like I'm just astounded at where the orange might have got to. Can you see it lightening up as we wait? And even this blue is becoming brighter and around here. We've got a little bit of it coming off over here, which is going to be fine. I haven't actually left myself much scope for tilting, you know, really flooded the whole canvas. Did I end up using it all? Yeah, I did. There's a little bit of gold there. I'm inclined to do this, so I'm going to. Just, well, probably shouldn't have. Now I'm doing the double regret. Oh, well, there's enough paint to tilt it off if I really don't like it, isn't there? No, just wait a bit longer. And I might pop you on pause so that you don't have to wait with me, because it's going to, I'm thinking I might let it sit for maybe 20 minutes before I do anything to it. So I'll see you back in 20 minutes. Oh, while we're waiting, I'm just going to show you something. Oh, I've came up with this idea and it's been working really well for me, and that's just getting disposable coffee cups with their lid, sticky taping the top of the lid component here, covering it, and then you've got an instant way to store your paints. Also letting my sticks dry out and reusing them. So simply covering this little bit here. No, there's not much gold, but why waste it when we can do that? Ha ha ha. I was a bit chuffed with myself. I'm sure someone else has done it, but I haven't seen it done. So I figured I should share it, because we're sharing and caring all the time. It's one of the best things about our little fluid art community. So, you know, once again, how easy is that? Just a bit of sticky tape over the sipping component. And then, oh, I'm not going to use it on the black because the black one's empty. Oh, I've got the orange. Here it is. And then popping the lid on, and that's nice and airtight, and certainly I'll be using that way before it even has an opportunity to dry out. And even better still, guys, I picked these up at a op shop. Sure, people are offloading a lot of their disposable one-use plastics and things like that, as we move more and more into making sure that we're not using things once off. And still, they've got to be used. So getting them from the op shop really sits with me really well morally, because they will go to the tip anyhow. So I'm just not buying them new and supporting the count of them being used via stock take at a major store, but at an op shop where they've already been bought, and supporting a charitable organisation, supporting the pouring, and moving into supporting the environment more and more. But of course, we all know to continue to collect our sauce bottles and our yogurt containers, and we don't need to buy things off AliExpress, even though it's fantastic to do so and really fast, efficient way to do it. But I found once I'd sort of, this is embarrassing, once I'd sort of got 40 of those bottles off AliExpress, it meant that I had, how disgustingly indulgent is that? Oh, anyway, and I had a huge amount of pre-mixed paints ready for myself. Then when I was mixing up other colours and doing other experiments, I wasn't looking at the long-term storage of them, and I was more happy to use things that I'd been collecting along the way. So yeah, anything that's got a lid on, I just collect. Okay, that's enough. I've gone into the ramble mode, isn't it? I wonder, might be known. Do you want to come down and have a look at what it's doing? Ah, that glare, that glare. It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's not as cloudy as what I was thinking, but I haven't done any tilting yet, and I think I might just get onto that now. But we certainly got the beginning parts of it being promising. I'm definitely going to pour that off. What was I thinking? I think I was thinking I wanted to brighten that area up. Can you see more air bubbles surfacing? You know, even just through that time that I was talking, which has been 4 minutes, by gosh, that's really ugly too, isn't it? But nonetheless, that orange coming up with the gold is really, really effective and nice. And look, you can see how quickly the pouring medium is wanting to dry, which is nice too. Floetrol takes so long to dry. Well, it is after all designed to slow down the drying in paints. All right, I'm going to tilt now. Okay, here we go. I might give it a quick torch again just to get rid of some more of those air bubbles that surfaced. And yes, they would surface. This is a thick, thick pour. You saw a huge amount of paint that I put down. It's only a 20 by 16 canvas, so I think I was over enthusiastic. And I did have my bigger canvas there to use, but I decided not to use my bigger canvas in the first one because I wasn't too sure how the recipe would be for me, considering that I'm using, you know, that new ingredient being the Mont Marte. Okay, I'm just looking for where I can pour some of this off to. There. I want that off. Be gone, ugliness. I'll bring this over and wanting to really try and focus on keeping that nice blue here. And now finally towards me. I don't know what you can see. It's so dark, isn't it? Wanting to keep, it's really interesting. There's a little ugly bit that I want gone, but I don't want too much of that gold to go. And I think I've captured it all right. Bring that back over like that. Maybe bring that blue. Oh, that's looking really good. Okay, huge amount of paint that I've got down. I've said it 100 times. I mustn't believe myself. Oh, it's looking really, really gorgeous. Some of the effects that are coming up. Not the cloudy effect I was looking for. Nonetheless, I tell you what, I'm pretty happy with this and I'm really excited to see how it dries. You know, just because it is that new pouring medium. And it was so smooth and it looks beautiful. You know, that feeling you just... I've got that really nice satisfied feeling, and I'm really glad because the last few days I've been doing the experiment with the Mont Martes, and because I've been test running the paints rather than creating, and it's quite a different process, I've missed out on that sense of satisfaction. So I feel really good, and isn't that a nice way to feel? There's been nothing wrong with the Mont Marte paints, by the way. They're a great investment if you don't want to mix up your paints. There's a huge scope and capacity for it on the market. I think I've said it before, but it's a great entry level into pouring. It would be great for people who just want to have a one-off experience with it. The only concern I've had so far is the cracking, and that's what I've got in mind with this pour here. It was a huge thick amount of paint, but you know, it shouldn't crack. I used a pouring medium, and I would want to hope that it doesn't crack, because if it does, it'll be making me wonder what it's made out of. You know, is it just another blend of fillers that aren't really worthy of our attention? Okay, so I'm just going to give it one more torch, because again there's some more little air bubbles popping up, and I think that's it. And I'm going to take you down and show you, and I'm going to post this before it's dry and bring it back in to have a look at tomorrow or the next day, because I've discovered something about myself. If I sort of save the video too long for editing, I don't get around to doing it. So I will get this up very, very soon and show you it dry in the next day or two. Oh, look, there's a goober. Can you see it? There. Well, I pressed the button on the phone. There it is. I'll remove that. Oh, sorry about that glare again. Oh, bugger, bugger, bugger. Look at the PowerPoint. Holy moly. Oh, God. Well, by the way, you heard me talk about it before. Look, that's how fast this is drying. God. It's a little bit better. Still very glary. What do you think? I love this part over here. Get into focus. Very, very, very nice. Certainly got some different ideas on how I can improve, or I think maybe just using less paint and some different colors will help it have greater appeal, but nonetheless I'm still very, very happy with this first effort using the proper product. Well, I shouldn't say the proper product, no, using this product that Mely D played around with and introduced us all to it, and thank you so much for doing that, Mely D. You don't, as an artist, you don't have to share your tips, you know. Oh, look, I should really cover that corner a bit more. All right, I'm going to be over and out now because I'm just rambling. My favorite thing to do, isn't it? Happy creating!